I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to go from a black screen. It'll look better. Okay, ready? Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into Wowhead Weekly number 86, 87, 86. Today we have a lot to talk about with the pre-patch coming up. We're getting so hyped for Legion. Lots of Q&As going on, but before we do that, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead site manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone! Pre-patch is big news. All these things are happening. Lots of guide writing and article writing and fact-checking on Wowhead. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, artifacts. Like, everyone is always checking out the artifact calculator on Wowhead, and they did an artifact Q&A about this yesterday.
Yes, I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. Yesterday was like a rough day for me. I'm very empathetic, so I was just having a hard time with like the world yesterday.
Oh,
and,
I totally understand.
I overslept, so I was just in like this total funk, and then I started to pull myself out of it, and then the world went even further downhill, and I was like, that's it. I wasn't meant to do anything today, and I like cried and slept. Sometimes you just gotta cry and sleep. So I'm excited to hear more about this because I, for one, am obsessed with the idea of artifacts.
Yeah, I can summarize some of it.
Sure.
So to start, the Q&A covered some of the basics for those who weren't that familiar with artifacts. I don't need to get into all of that because if you're watching the show and reading up on WoW, like you know what an artifact is. It's a cool weapon you carry throughout the expansion. But they did try to talk about some more interesting things, and what I thought was funny was that they said that there are going to be the 5 appearances per weapon with 4 tint variations at launch, and they're like, oh, there's this hidden 6 style, which is, you know, you're not meant to know about it.
We know about it.
Yeah, and like it's totally on the artifact calculator, and that's coming in a later patch. So you can head over onto Wowhead's artifact calculator and then go to the appearances tab, and the one row that doesn't have any source information is the one that will be coming in a later patch.
Oh, thank you so much for subscribing, Shat and Toter.
Awesome.
That means right now we are 5 subscribers away from our 2 new emotes, which we have made. If you want to see them, I posted them on Twitter. And one of them is Perk doing like a really cute yay face, and the other one is me like raging. As we do. When I was reading this in the notes, I was actually really excited about that note because we have been speculating what that 6th variant could be for a while, and then when we had our Legion Summit interviews, they had talked about being able to release more, you know, with future patches and stuff. So it's exciting that they already kind of have that planned for the first big patch, that there's going to be more variants, and you know, hopefully we'll see more of those going forward. And I also noticed this in the notes too that was really cool, is that they're working on some sort of system so that all of your appearances that you collect during Legion can be used for transmog and future expansions. I assume that'll probably work like maybe weapon illusions or something. I don't know, but really, really awesome idea there so that you're not going to lose your progress. And I think it sort of like tackles a lot of the issues that people have had with legendaries in the past. You know, you work so hard to get your legendary, and then, I mean, you still can't transmog those, but at least going forward we will be able to transmog not only our artifacts into other things, but the variants that we earn for our artifacts when we're no longer
and you'll have
them.
to earn them during Legion, so you know, like you have to do the work during Legion, and for players in later expansions, it's like, well, you know, like it shouldn't be like, oh, I have to do this grind and, you know, find groups to do like, you know, Gul'dan or kill all these mobs. It's like, this is the Legion specific activity, and if you work really hard, then you get all these appearances.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great idea.
So for the next note, I know I said we weren't going to go over the basics, but I think this one is worth repeating. People were saying they're confused about artifact knowledge because it's changed so much in the beta, and it's something that you can only do when you're 110, and a lot of people are still leveling. And the TLDR is basically artifact power is the raw currency, which you use to unlock the traits. And then when you hit max level, artifact knowledge opens up, and you can get them by feeding the NPC order hall resources, and there are different stages, and that increases the rate at which you get artifact power. So like if you get an artifact power item from a world quest, if you have a higher knowledge rank, then it gives you more power, and then that in turn will help you gear up off-spec weapons, because you'll get those earlier traits much faster.
Yeah, which is really nice. I know that there was a lot of debate about the alt-friendliness of Legion, because in an earlier Q&A they had said, oh, we think Legion is one of the most alt-friendly expansions, and then you had a lot of people saying, like, how is that even a thing you're saying, because artifact power and you need a certain amount, and And I think that, you know, the ways that they've added catch-ups for this so that you can at least have your off-spec. And I think that when they say it's alt-friendly, it's because the really, really mandatory stuff is going to be easier to get.
Right. Also, like, the way you acquire all the weapons is different, so it's not boring on an alt. You know, like, if you're playing a different class, you'll have a totally different order hall and acquisition, and that's a lot more interesting to play. It's not like, I have to do all this grindy, boring stuff.
I didn't even consider that, but that's a really, really good point, that it's a different experience, and it's a fun experience, and it's not monotonous. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for subscribing, Sass.
Wow. Yay.
That's Steven, right?
Yep.
We know
he
him.
does all of our feedback stuff.
Also, thank you so much, Adriacraft, for subscribing. So now we're down to 3. We're down to 3. Hopefully by the end of the show, we'll have our new emotes for. They won't generate immediately, but they'll be here for next week. But they're really, really cute. Fabelina did a great job on them. I'm glad that you guys are excited
Pepe
too.
likes them.
Yeah. But we already have a Pepe emote, though. I mean, we got the important stuff out of the way immediately.
Yeah, so now Pepe can sit on my head.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Yes. I didn't even think about that. This is going to be the best. This is going to be the best. I'm sorry. Back to artifacts.
Yeah. Back to the hidden artifact effects we were just talking about. So we've mentioned how there's the 5 styles and then the one coming later on. And out of the 5 styles, a lot of them are via predictable sources, like you do something with your class hall, or one group is all for PvP, another group is like higher level achievements like challenge modes. And then the 5th style is what's considered a hidden effect because you unlock the base appearance, but with some item, and it could be like anywhere in the world. And people are asking, why are some easier to get than others? Like, for example, for Beast Mastery Hunters, you buy the hidden item right from the engineering vendor, and that then unlocks the appearance of a bow. And they're like, for other classes, like, you have to, farm up something in Suramar, or, like, do the special scenario, like, why are some easier than others? And they're saying that the ones that are easier are meant to address community concerns. Like, for example, a lot of hunters felt sad being locked into a gun as Beast Mastery. So they're like, okay, like, we're going to make the bow easy to get so people can, feel a strong identity and be a bow using hunter if they really want to. So all the ones that are easy were specifically designed to be easier so people could use a specific type of weapon or unlock a fantasy they felt that people were sad about missing out on.
Side note, thank you so much to Olivia and Luster for subscribing. That means we're only one away from our new emotes. This is so exciting. This is so exciting. I think our pop-ups have now broken because they came through all too fast, which is the best reason for something ever to break.
That is the opposite of what we want to have happen.
So what you were just talking about, I'm sorry, I was very distracted looking at the chat. I'm sure everybody could see on screen that I was not doing a good job of paying attention. What I gathered was that you said that if a hunter is one of the hunters, which I think, what is it, Marksman has the gun?
Beast Mastery has the gun.
Beast Mastery has the gun, but they'll be able to unlock an appearance of a bow.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
more. Yeah, and that's going to be easy, more easy than
unlocking a tint variant.
Right, or like a holy priest unlocking another staff appearance. Like we really wanted Beast Mastery Hunters to have their bow variation.
That's really cool. That's very thoughtful. And when I did my thank you. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we broke the number. Thank you so much to Aaron Menenth. I tried. You'll eye this and Steve Hammaker for subscribing. We are now definitely over the number needed, and I'll get those uploaded tonight so that we can use them next week. Well, you'll be able to use them earlier than that, but they'll definitely be here for
It'll be really cool, especially with the pre-patch coming soon.
Yeah.
We can do a special pre-patch Q&A, and we can have our little
and you'll be able to use my face as a way to depict your own rage. And Perk's face for excitement.
Good
so thank you so much, guys. We really, really appreciate it. We're very excited.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you twice now to talk about subscribers.
It's for a good cause. Let's see. So like I was just talking about how artifact acquisition quest lines help with the idea that things are alt friendly because they're all unique, and the Q&A also covered how they're meant to feel, in addition to feeling unique, some of them are in the same place but cover different segments of a story, which is pretty interesting. Like, it's not like they're all in totally different places and feel unrelated. They all sort of tie into different pieces of the plot. Yeah. And one example I can think of off the top of my head is I think a lot of 3 classes, I think, go to Tyr's Tomb and Tyr's Fall Glades. And like Shadow Priest started, and then I think Arms Warriors are there, and then I believe Holy
Death
Paladins
Knights are there
finished.
too, or they were at least in early alpha.
Yeah, and then they talked about how different classes are in Karazhan, and even though it's kind of the same location, doing the different steps, it's a different puzzle because you all have very different abilities. So like a Death Knight trying to do a ranged interrupt is different than a Balance Druid that's there.
Yeah.
So, let's see what else is there. Yeah, so we covered this way back in November when we did the Q&A with Chris Robinson, but people still want to know, like, how do you make a new artifact feel special next to something like Ashbringer or, Doomhammer?
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying that they wrote a huge backstory to all the weapons that were new, and they tried tying them to something recognizable, like a major lore figure, or a place or event, so they wouldn't feel, not like bad next to a famous weapon. And yeah, I mean, I think we've been making videos of all the artifact acquisitions. I think some of the unknown ones are kind of pleasantly surprising because you don't really know what's going on with them, and you're like, wow, they're actually tied into, like Ice Ground or the Lich King. I would have no idea.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And finally, they also talked a bit about the class order halls. Like they keep using different terms. So I don't know if it's like class hall or order hall or class order hall. But they
I've
talked
heard
about
it's like a few different ways as well.
Yeah, they talked about why the portals were removed in early alpha, and they said that in early alpha you could teleport to the class hall, and they said that it just felt like you were hopping around too much, and you should enjoy the area that you're in and actually do stuff in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And they redid the pacing of Legion so you wouldn't feel compelled to have to go back to your class hall all the time. And then they gave you a Dalaran Hearthstone because they wanted Dalaran to feel like the central place that you're meant to hang out with, which I think is good because I could see the Order Hall having parallels to the Garrison and just going back there and feeling like you obsessively have to do your missions and, and you're kind of isolated because you're not around everyone.
Yeah.
But they talked about making Dalaran more of an emphasis. And they also mentioned something with Warrior Order Halls, which is that in very early alpha, the concept of the Order Hall was that there's lots of famous ghosts throughout Azeroth's history in the Order Hall because the concept is that it's the Halls of Valor, this is where all the heroes go. And they said while that was cool, it led to complications like, why are a human and an orc next to each other, and why are they together in this Rykul afterlife? So they said they removed all the ghosts and then try to amp up the Rykul fantasy, but yeah, I mean, it is interesting because a lot of other Order Halls have famous NPCs in them, and with Warriors, like, so many, I guess the concept of a warrior is that you die in battle, like, there's so many famous warriors that are now dead, so the Warrior Order Hall does feel a little bit different than the other ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about the major points with that. As usual, we have an artifact calculator that has all the traits and appearances. We now have an artifact weapon guide section, and we've got summaries of over half the weapons up, and very soon we're going to have a mega guide to everything about artifacts, like charts and knowledge and appearances and hidden abilities they have, everything. I've been working with the writer on that, so yeah, we definitely have a lot of artifact stuff on Wowhead.
Well, and it's like there's so many to begin with, so then if you have, all the information on how you get all the variants and all the talents for every individual one, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It definitely is a lot of information. Yeah.
So
next week,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, next week Q&A is going to be on World Quest and Demon Invasions with Jeremy Fiesel, aka Muffinus. And yeah, I don't know if what you were saying was related or not, but we can talk about. Okay.
It was. I was just going to say someone in chat said they were bummed that the demonic invasions and stuff like that wasn't coming immediately with the pre-patch, and I was just going to say that's pretty, I saw someone in chat also respond to that, but that's a pretty usual thing, is that they'll release all the big, huge changes, like the class changes and stuff first, and then if there is some sort of event, it usually comes a week or 2 weeks later to kind of let you get used to the changes before throwing you into a bunch of other new stuff as well.
Right, and I think I think also story-wise it works as a concept that you're in your warlords thing, and then, things change, like your class, and then once you're settled down with that, the story kind of ramps up with more and more quests, and the demon hunters and the invasions coming in future weeks to have it be a transition. But yeah, so Demon Invasions are coming at some point in the pre-patch, and World Quests are the max level replacement for Daily Quest coming in Legion proper. And we have lots of guides. We've talked about this a lot, but if you haven't been paying attention, for Demon Invasions, you find demons in low-level zones, and you help fight them back, and you get these nether shards, and you turn them in for these Fell Touch transmog sets and pets, and some eye-level 700 gear. And there's also cool things going on in the world, like in Stormwind and Orgrimmar, you can get mind-controlled and corrupt people and then turn into a Dreadlord. There's Doomsayers, all sorts of cool stuff. And then for World Quests, I think people will find this interesting because they're meant to be a replacement for Daily Quests, and I know whenever people think max-level quest system, they're like, oh man, like, this is Daily Quest again. So, yeah, they're quests that spawn all over Legion zones with randomized rewards. And, like, I really want to emphasize the random. Like, there's a lot of randomization. It's not like one quest has one type of reward. Like, the rewards are totally mixed up. The quests are totally mixed up. There's no hard reset time. They give you everything from gear to artifact power. Profession World Quest even can give you a recipe or reagents. There's Battle Pet World Quest. There's PvP World Quests. Yeah. So, they'll be covering all that. And, they even have this one type of faction, which we covered last week, the Kirin Tor, and they just have all these puzzles, like, you don't even kill things, you just, like, do a maze, or, like, fly in the air, or do a race. So, yeah, there's also Emissary Quest tied to World Quest, where if you do 4 quests for a faction that's up, you can get a bonus bag, and that can have, you know, boring stuff like order resources or artifact power, but it can also have, like, a legendary... Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it can have, like, the rewards you get from World Quest, but it can also have a legendary or even an item which starts a quest for that super cool fox mount. Yeah, we have guides to both of these topics. We're trying to, you know, update them as Blizzard keeps changing things every week. And, if you want to submit the Q&A, there is a thread on the Blizzard forums, as well as you can hashtag Legion QA, and Blizzard will see your question that way.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing... I can't believe how many Q&As there have been.
I really like this.
It's a lot.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention about World Quest was that they covered this at our interview at the Legion Summit, how they can use this as a evergreen system, and they can easily extend content with it.
Yeah.
For example, if you get better gear in Legion, the rewards you get from World Quest increase.
Yeah.
Or if you have more artifact knowledge, then the artifact power items, you know, scale up and give you even more, so it doesn't get outdated quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, it should keep this more relevant for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
I'm curious to see how that plays out, and if there's any more surprises in store. Like, I really like the Kirin Tor World Quest, even though doing the maze was kind of annoying. I think it's good to just sort of spice things up, how it's not just... If you don't want to kill things a certain time, you don't even have to do that. You can just do something completely different.
Yeah, that's just fun.
Yep. We should move into the more stressful part of the week now.
The background download has started.
Yeah. Yep.
That started the day before yesterday.
I think so. It was
this Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it was very stressful for me because then everybody was like, "Oh, that means the patch is Tuesday." I'm like, "The patch can't be Tuesday. I'm not ready." Because I started to do all these Legion class guides like in November, and then by the time I got to like Hunters, they had already made all these major changes to survival that were no longer, like, they were outdated as quickly as I was making them. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait until it gets a little closer. And then, like, when they dropped the PTR as the pre-patch, I was like, okay, I need to start them now. And I've gotten them done at a pretty good pace. I think I've done 3, and the 4th one is getting filmed after we're done here. I might actually film the monk one as well. It's almost done being written. I might just do them both. It's going to depend on how hot it is in here. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm almost halfway done. Like, I'm doing a really great job. And then it's like Tuesday. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to finish this by Tuesday. That's not in the realm of possibilities. So I'm pretty excited because if it's downloading now, and then we found out later in the day today that the arena season is ending on the 19th, that means we have at least until the 19th. We might even have a week after that. Yeah, it's been I know recently, usually when the season ends, that's when the new patch starts, but it hasn't always been this way. And, you know, Blizzard is trying something, you know, new with the schedule anyway, with really staggering demon hunters and everything. So yeah,
It's a mystery. I don't know when it's going to be.
I don't know. I'm so sorry. I was holding a yawn for such a long time.
I know. I've seen you do that before. It's okay.
I was holding a yawn for such a long time. But yeah, I'm super excited because we should have at least a week. I would love for us to have 2 weeks, but beggars can't be choosers.
Yep.
But now the launch day conditions are being tested or have been tested on the beta.
Yeah, they tested them yesterday, so basically they locked all the 110 characters and they set, like, you couldn't access Broken Isle zones, and then they flashed these things being like, the Legion is now here, and you could do the Broken Shore scenario and go to Dalaran, and they just wanted to test that launch day condition with, like, the stress test and making sure that the transition worked. And it was super buggy, but, that's the point of it. You're meant to find bugs.
Yeah, that is absolutely the point of it. So that's good. I'm glad that this is... I feel like we've known about Legion for so long now. Like, almost a year, right? It was announced last August. Like, that's a really long time to know about an expansion. And, like, especially since then we have not had a content patch. There hasn't been a content patch since middle of last July. So it's been this kind of period of time where it's almost felt like, okay, is this ever going to happen?
Right. And they've been changing so many parts of it, like you mentioned with your class videos. You can't just dig in and be like, okay, this is how it is.
Yeah, it's been changing very rapidly. So I'm really excited that we're finally getting to the point where we can see the light. And, we're only less than 2 months out from the expansion. And the pre-patch is going to be likely within the next, 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm really looking forward to everything happening. Although I'm scared about all the work I have to do before that.
I am too.
But that's okay. But okay, so did we talk about the pre-expansion blog?
No, that happened. So it was background downloader, pre-expansion blog, and then the July 19th end of season blog. So yeah, we didn't talk about the pre-expansion patch teaser blog.
Yeah, so the blog talked about that the original patch was going to be the class changes, the UI improvements, and the transmog system.
Yeah.
Then everything else is going to come in a couple weeks later and might even be in separate patches. Like, it might not even be one extra big patch. It could be a couple. That'll be the Demon Hunters, which will be coming in mid-August, no later than the 17th. The quest lines that are going to explore Legion lore, which will involve Jaina and the Kirin Tor. Then we'll also see the demonic invasions of the low-level zones and the Broken Shore scenarios. So I actually kind of expect those patches to be split up.
Yeah, I think in a blue post over the weekend, they talked about how the quest lines would be split up and then they'd be going away when the actual Legion hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would imagine that there'll be a few weeks of sorting out transmog bugs and then also sorting out sort of basic class balance. Although it's kind of weird because a lot of this stuff is relying on legendaries and artifacts and we don't have them. And then maybe with August, I don't know, maybe at the start of August will be a quest line explaining the start of the Legion lore, and then next week there'll be the invasions, and then the Demon Hunters show up. So maybe every week there'll be something new.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. I was just talking, it's funny, you just brought up the artifacts and legendaries, and I was just talking to a guildie about that, about how right now everybody's going onto the PTR and just having a conniption about, this class is overpowered, this class is underpowered, this class is broken, this, and it's balance, number one, is the very last thing that they do. That's the last thing that they do, is actually tweak those numbers. 2, all of the balance is going to be taking place for Legion. They're not balancing this for us to go back to do Hellfire Citadel. Granted, there is going to be 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 weeks where we're doing Hellfire Citadel with these changes, but that's not what these changes are intended for.
And they've totally nerfed Hellfire Citadel, the mobs on the PTR have a demoralized buff or something, so it is meant to be easier, so even if things feel weird, the bosses are easier to kill.
Yeah, which...
Yeah, I'm all for that.
At this point, I'm not mad about. Not mad about. So when you do see this, that whether you're on the, I know a lot of people have said they've gotten into the beta recently, whether you're on the beta or the PTR, do keep in mind that everything is meant to be balanced at, an active player in Legion, not right here and now. You're supposed to have an artifact weapon. You're supposed to have maybe 1 or 2 legendaries. So.
Yeah. In a great situation. I think in the Q&A they did talk about how they want people from 100 to 109 to feel good with an artifact that's not fully maxed out, and that
Yeah.
they tune for that, and then they tune for 110 with like, you know, raid gear. But like we're not even at like the basic point where like, you know, no artifact and
Yeah.
yeah, like, you know,
Well, it
basic
was
and
like I was doing the notes for my mage video, and it seems like the big change that they're focusing on for every class is obviously making each class have a more specific fantasy for each spec and having the gameplay line up with that. Except for fire mages, who are just supposed to not suck until, you know, they have the best gear in the game, which I thought was a really kind of, I don't want to say interesting change, but that's kind of how fire has been for, 3 expansions now.
Yeah.
So it seems like they are trying to make it so that you don't feel like, on any class, that you need to have a specific amount of gear to be decent. They really seem like they want things to be viable based on the fantasy of what you like to play.
Yeah. So,
want to talk about the things you should do before pre-patch happens?
Yeah. So, again, we don't know when it hits. Like, if you think it's going to end when the PvP season does, try it on the 19th. But there are some things that are going away in the pre-patch and then some going away in Legion. What's going away in the pre-patch are the Warlords challenge modes.
Mm-hmm.
You should get those done now because at different levels they have different rewards.
Mm-hmm.
We partnered with Method to write a series of video guides. So if if you'd rather see a video than read text, we have that. They're really good. They're linked in our pre-patch guide and also on the front page right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get gold in, the whole garrison gold farming system is going away.
Yep.
So no more Blinktron Vault, no more treasure hunters.
Not pleased.
Very sad things.
I feel like that shouldn't go away until Legion. I don't know why that's going away in pre-patch. Like, there's nothing being added in pre-patch that's going to, you know, substitute
I think it's part of the Legion, just like data system.
Oh, the Legion just kills Blinkrons? Got it.
Well, it's like the Legion data, like that's why we have new spells now, or like I think so. It's like, oh, you know,
I don't know. I feel like that should stay until Legion because we don't have like a different gold making source. Like that was the gold making source for this expansion.
There'll be new things like weapon illusions or transmog, so you could like sell a bunch of transmog stuff or the materials to get glow effects.
Yeah, except that the thing is, I feel like transmog stuff is kind of less valuable now because once somebody has the appearance, they have it forever.
Right.
Whereas,
but like there'll be like that rush in August where like you want to get all the transmog stuff the very first time.
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah.
We'll see. I just don't take my Blinktron.
What else is there? So you can get a lot of pet charms from Draenor content, and they're nerfing that.
Yep.
And you want to get pet charms because in Legion there's a bunch more stuff you can get with pet charms, like different pets or this item where you look like your pet. Oh no, the pet looks like something like that.
The pet looks like you.
Yeah. The Warlords digital rewards, I think, are going away. So if you want to get the mount and the pet, the Anzu like thing,
the Dread Raven.
Yeah. I think this is going away. I'm not totally sure. The Brawlers Guild is going away at some point. I think it's going away with the patch because like it would be totally imbalanced. So do those. You really want to do those for the shirts because in Legion they're in the pre-patch. It's the Fashionista Fabulous title, which you need that for. And then at a later point, coming with Legion, there's the nerf drop rate on the mythic mounts.
See, this is stupid. This is stupid. This is stupid. This is stupid. Why would they nerf gold missions now and Moose later when now the raid has been nerfed and everybody else has been buffed? Like an actual thing that takes skill and dedication to do is not nerfed and like until Legion comes out. So there's like a period of time where it's going to be a lot easier to get.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too because I remember with Ice Crown Citadel when they had the pre-patch for Cataclysm when I was raiding them, like we made an effort to get everyone their mounts before the pre-patch hit because when the pre-patch hit, everything was nerfed.
Yeah, as it normally is. Like this, I don't really care about anything else. Like, honestly, I just think it's dumb. Like, why do we need to nerf the gold missions, which literally affect no one but you, but then, like, let people, like, I don't know. It's not really about, like, prestige, per se. It's not. I'm not trying to be snobby, but, like, I don't have the Mythic Archimon mount. That mount is extremely hard to get. Most people who have it have run it 12, 15, 20 times because everybody in your guild has to get it. You know what I mean? So the fact that that's going to be, you know, like, not nerfed, the drop rate on that is still going to be 100% when the fight is being nerfed and everybody's gear and like everything, they're going to be stronger. It seems like that's a real slap in the face to Mythic Raiders that aren't me.
Yeah, I think it was also unclear what was going on with the Moose. There was a recent blue post saying the Moose was also going to be when Legion left. So, yeah, I feel like maybe a blue post on this would be something that would be good, like why it was, changed a few expansions to, be different.
Like, I just don't know. Well, it's like if it was consistent where nothing was being changed into Legion, fine. But like, why are we concerned about, like, okay, we need to take challenge modes out because we're better now, but you can still get the rewards for the hardest mythic boss. It's just silly.
Right. I mean, I
It
think
just
my
doesn't make
guess,
sense.
I would guess with challenge modes that there's the realm first titles, and like you don't want. I guess I don't know, like the leaderboards would be messed up if all of a sudden people did different things. But yeah, I feel like it would be interesting if they talked about like why they decided to remove things at different times or keep things around. Or not. Like
That
I'm
just
just
seems like, in my opinion, that just seems like a very prestigious, like, to have the Mythic Archimon mount. To me, like, I don't really care about the Moose. Like, people get carried to the Moose all the time. Like, that,
Right.
I don't care about the Moose. But like the Archimon mount, like, that's not right. Like, my guild right now, we can't kill Archimon on Mythic. We can't do it. Like, I'm just putting it out there, being honest. Like, we're 11 out of 13. We're gonna be that way until pre-patch because we're waiting for the nerf to finish it. Like, which is fine. A lot of guilds do that. But, like, we
Right.
shouldn't be getting that mount at the same rate as somebody who actually, like, got this 6 months ago. That's
Yeah,
not
I would.
fair.
I mean, I would agree with that. And like I said, Blizzard used to do it that way. I'm not sure why they've changed it. I don't know if they'll be like, oh well, if you look at your feat of strength, like the person that has it before the date that the prestige is in that, or oh, some person could just get it on the BMA auction house. But
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I see your
don't
point.
know. I just feel like the
I would
rate
like to know why they changed it too.
like everything else, like those drop rates changed to like even like I feel like even the mount that was off of Garrosh was
No, I
nerfed,
think they
wasn't it?
kept that. I think maybe he was the first one with the new system.
Yeah. I know we only killed it one time.
I didn't put this in the notes, but the legendary quest line you cannot complete it in Legion. You can complete it during the pre-patch, but you must have already started the quest line
Yeah.
before the pre-patch.
You have to
So-
pick up. You can't pick up the quest from scratch once
Exactly.
the pre-patch comes in, and then you have to finish it by Legion, right?
Yep,
Um,
and you get a monument and feats of strength and that good stuff.
Somebody just asked if my guild hasn't killed Mythic Archimon, how do I have a Mythic Archimon killed? I went with my friend's guild. They were down a person and they're like, hey, you want to go? And I was like, heck yeah, I do. So, I mean, I was not trying to mislead you in any way, and I did not get the mount off of that because that would be ridiculous. So that was what was going on there. That's what's going on with the pre-patch and nerfs and buffs. When we get done here, I'm gonna finish my darn class changes before Comic-Con. I have to.
I have faith in you.
I have to. I actually outsourced someone to do the monk one. I found that for the classes that I at least have an alt on, I can kind of at least understand the changes enough to like
Right.
But like for something like a monk, I think my highest level monk is like 40. Like I don't know how to monk. I don't know anything about monking. So I ended up paying someone to like literally tell me how to be a monk. Like they didn't even write the notes that I'm using for the video. Like I'm using their notes to write notes for my video. But like
Right,
everything was so over my head. Like they're talking about fist weaving, blah blah blah, fist weaving. I don't even know what fist weaving is. Like what is? And now I do. Now I understand what fist weaving is, and now I understand like why it's going away and why it's different. But I sat in here for like 3 hours, like reading about monks and just not. I should have just gotten on the PTR.
Right.
Maybe I would have understood a little better. But so I'm a little nervous about a couple of the classes coming up: rogues, warriors, warlocks. I'm nervous about. I have a max level warlock, but it shouldn't count. It shouldn't count because I leveled the majority. Like I kind of just leveled her up to the last 10 levels the past few expansions. So I'm really scared about rogues. You'll probably be getting a lot of messages from me.
That's okay. That's good. I can also put you in touch with the Wowhead writers who are doing all the different guides for each spec, and they have to have something ready for the pre-patch as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I have now
yeah.
all these really nice text guides saved of all the main changes. If you want them, you let me know, because they're just sitting in my Google Drive. Very well written.
I hit you up on that.
I wouldn't blame you. But
Yeah.
anyways, so we're gonna have a ton of stuff coming up for pre-patch videos, guides. There's a lot of stuff already available, so worth checking out. Worth checking out the PTR if you haven't yet. In other news, there's this new comic that Blizzard has out called Nightborn.
It's so pretty, but
It's
sad.
very pretty. I haven't read it, but I like that Blizzard is kind of into this whole like free digital comics thing.
Yeah, I also like how they have the special version that's like an animated book, so when you open up each page, like the text and the characters slide into place.
Yeah,
It
they
feels
did that in
interactive.
Overwatch. They did that for Overwatch too.
Yep.
So
Should we put up a spoiler tag?
yeah, I'll put up I'm gonna put
Okay.
it on you, and I'm gonna put up a spoiler
All right.
tag. So
I think the background
Sure.
downloader image is...
Yeah,
Okay, it's gone now. Yeah.
It'll be gone.
Okay. So this is the second in Blizzard's series of digital comics before Legion's launch, and it fills you in on different parts of the backstory. Now, in Legion, there is the max level zone Suramar, and you're helping the group of night elves that have been sequestered since War of the Ancients. They were part of the Nightborn. They fought against the Burning Legion, and then the head of the group decided to ally with the Legion, and then kicked out the dissenters, who then withered because they were kept away from their magical source. Before War of the Ancients, Night Elves were very into magic. There was a split between the Highborn and then the more nature-loving Night Elves. So this comic talks about the events that caused the Nightborn to help Gul'dan. And what happens is that Gul'dan comes to the Nightborn and threatens to destroy them if they do not give him access to their font of magical power, which is what's keeping them alive and not withered and decrepit. And the Nightborn, as I mentioned, originally resisted the Legion in War of the Ancients, and then they've been secluded since, so they don't really know anything about the Alliance and the Horde, or how, like, the regular Night Elves in Darnassus are doing. They're just totally, and they're literally a bubble. So you then follow the Grand Magistrix Elisande around as she weighs all the options, and she eventually decides to side with Gul'dan. And she's talking about how people dissent with her, they will be exiled from Suramar, and they'll wither up, and they'll be deprived of magic. And then in the comic, we see that a female Nightborn is trying to argue that death is better than siding with the Legion, and there's some kind of elaborate, assassination plan, and she ends up being betrayed and thrown out of Suramar City. And people are heavily implying that this is First Arcanist, I'm gonna mess up her name, Thalassera, who is the NPC that you engage with for questing in Suramar. So that sort of sets the story up nicely about why this NPC wants to help you, how she chose exile and being physically destroyed as opposed to siding with the Legion. And then as for Elisande, she is later a boss in one of the Legion raids, the Nightwell. So yeah, that sets up the backstory as to why there is friendly Nightborn that are all withered, and that the Nightfallen, why the Nightborn are in Suramar and why they're hostile, and why some of them are in the dungeons, the Archway, Court of Stars, and the raid, the Nightwell. And yeah, it's a very pretty comic. I like anything with night elves.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
That's accurate.
So yeah, I guess that's about it for spoilers, unless you want to chime in with anything.
I have nothing. I have nothing to add to that. I have
Okay.
nothing to add to that. I'll get rid of this background downloader, though. Where do we... It's right
Yeah.
there. Bam. Bam.
No,
Okay,
background downloader.
so... Do we know what the release schedule for those comics is?
I'm not sure. I think they've done one every week. So...
Wow.
I didn't, when we went to the Legion Summit, we also saw that short film about Illidan. So that's coming at some point.
That'll probably be with the pre-patch. That'll probably be...
Yeah, I would imagine
or with
that.
the demon invasion.
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
In other news, which I know we don't have as much to talk about with the Warcraft movie lately, but Duncan Jones tweeted out that Weta Workshop is going to be making one-to-one replicas of Lady Taria's dagger that she gives to Garona in the movie that will be available around Christmas time.
Yeah.
I wonder how much they're going to cost.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up, let's see what the other ones cost, because they have a lot of stuff on sale right now. Let's see, projects, shop, Warcraft. So right now, you can get King Lane's sword for $250.
That's cheaper than I would have thought it would have been,
Right.
honestly.
And
so the dagger will probably only be $125,
right,
$150.
that's way
It's
bigger.
way smaller.
like you can get a small doom hammer for $50. Um, like all the 1-to-6 ratios for the huge weapons are 50. Things like the Royal Guard sword are 250. Oh, they also have some necklaces like a Lion's Crest pendant for 150, or rings. You can get King Lane's ring for 250.
Oh.
So, yeah, I would
That's
imagine.
a confusing price for me because the thing is, $250 would not be enough if it was actually gold.
Right.
But then, like, it's kind of too much if it's not actually, like, a precious metal.
Let's see. What does it say? I haven't seen this one before. I'm just looking at it. I think it says, I think it's made of silver. It doesn't really say what's in it. I don't think there's any gemstones in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks
like,
kind of cool, though. It's kind of got, like,
some
lions.
silver jewelry is expensive. It just, I don't know what the depending factor is on what the difference between, like, you know, like, expensive silver jewelry and, like, cheap silver jewelry is. I don't really know.
Right.
Anywho, so that's the thing. I'm not going to say the thing that you have in there. That's too much of a spoiler. Even with a spoiler tag, that's too far, Perk. You've crossed lines.
I will remove it.
You've
from
crossed
the notes.
lines. Okay, thank you. But if you did see the movie, and this isn't really a spoiler, we already said this was Lady Taria's dagger that she gives to Garona, and it's sort of an act of trust between the humans and Garona, and it's a very pivotal, like it's an important weapon in the movie. So, if you've seen the movie, you know. If you haven't seen the movie, you should.
I think on a past interview, like maybe last SDCC, Duncan Jones was saying that out of all the items, that was the prop he kept from the movie.
Yeah, so which I don't blame him because it was a super cool dagger, but then it also is so meaningful to the story. So,
and it looks so different from the other Alliance weapons. I mean, even when Garona gets it, she has this look of wonder on her face because all the weapons are these big swords, and it's like, how do you protect yourself with this tiny, dainty dagger?
She says that she was like, with this.
Right, but then she's using it in battle scenes and doing a awesome job with it.
She makes it work.
Yep.
As a final reminder, we will have new emotes next week. I'll get those uploaded tonight for you guys. I'm really excited. Yep. And if you want to see them, they'll be on my Twitter. Fabelina made them, and she's amazing. So thank you to Fabelina.
Thank you.
And also, one last thing before we tie up today is it this one? Yeah, it is. We still do have an active code with the Blizzard Gear Shop. It is Wowhead 15 July, and it will give you 15% off of any home goods in the Blizzard Gear Shop, which is quite a few things. Like it's a lot of really, really cool things, like notebooks and picture frames.
The towels are pretty expensive and fluffy. Like, I think they're $70
the blankets,
each.
There's also, like, coffee mugs and thermoses, and there's all the pint glasses from different franchises.
The Treasure Goblin is pretty cool. It's okay. Here we go.
Excuse me. So there's a lot of really, really cool stuff, and 15% off. It's a pretty decent discount, so if you've been eyeing any of this, now would be a good time to get it. It's Wowhead 15 July to get 15% off home goods at the Blizzard Gear Shop. And every month we get a new code, so that one is good. That one's pretty new. That one will be good through the 31st. Right? There's 31 days in July. There is,
Yeah, 30 days. June had 30.
So, yeah, that's like, we got through this pretty quick today, which I am personally happy about because I have a lot of work to do, so I appreciate that we got through this pretty quickly today. But we went over a lot of good stuff. We talked about the pre-patch, what is coming, what is not coming, what is leaving, what is not leaving. We talked about the new comic. We talked about the Q&A. We talked about Lady Taria's dagger going on sale. We talked about our
awesome Night Elf
code.
comic.
Talked about the end of the season. Yeah, we talked about the Night Elf comic. So we covered a lot in a short amount of time. Good for us. I do want to quickly thank everybody who subscribed to us today here on Twitch. Thank you so, so much. We will have 2 new emotes for you guys next show. Super, super exciting. Thanks again to Fabelina. Also, thank you to everybody who is following us on Twitch, subscribes to us on YouTube, watches us live, watches our videos. We really appreciate it. And a big thank you to everybody who subscribes to Wowhead Premium, which is a subscription service for Wowhead. It removes all of the ads from the site on both mobile and desktop. It makes you so that you talk in a special color when you're on the comment section or the forums. You can customize your Today in Draenor. You can track quests. There's a lot of really cool perks. Plus, it directly helps out Wowhead.com. So we appreciate all of that. We will be here next week, same time, same channel at Wowhead, twitch.tv/Wowhead at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific every Friday, except for Comic-Con Friday, which is going to be the week after next. On the 22nd, I will not be here.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I just won't be here.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. But we do try to do this every Friday, and I think that's about it. We are going to go. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.